Debt has a strange way of making time disappear. You make a payment. A month passes. You make another payment. And somehow, the number barely changes. Credit cards, student loans, personal loans, car payments. For millions of people, debt doesn't feel like a financial problem. It feels like running on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. And that's why two debt strategies have become incredibly popular: the Snowball Method and the Avalanche Method. Both promise the same destination: freedom, but they take completely different paths. The Snowball Method became famous because it focuses on human behavior. Instead of paying the debt with the highest interest rate first, you attack the smallest balance. You eliminate one debt completely, then move to the next, and then the next. Financial expert Dave Ramsey helped popularize this idea because he noticed something important. People don't quit because math is difficult. They quit because progress feels invisible. Imagine having four debts: a $500 credit card, a $2,000 personal loan, a $10,000 student loan, and a car payment. The Snowball Method tells you to destroy the $500 debt first, not because it's the smartest mathematical choice, but because seeing one balance reach zero changes your mindset. Suddenly, you're not someone trapped in debt. You're someone making progress. And in the real world, motivation matters. Studies on human behavior repeatedly show that visible progress increases the likelihood that people continue difficult tasks. This is why fitness apps show streaks. This is why video games give achievements. And this is why crossing one debt completely off your list feels powerful. But there is another side to the story: the Avalanche Method. This strategy ignores emotions. It focuses entirely on numbers. You pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first. Credit cards often carry extremely high interest rates, and over time, those interest charges can cost thousands. Mathematically, Avalanche usually wins. You pay less interest. You become debt-free faster, and you save money. If a computer had debt, it would probably choose the Avalanche Method every time. But humans are not computers, and that's where things become interesting. Because the best financial strategy isn't always the one that looks perfect on paper. Sometimes it's the one that keeps you going when motivation disappears. The biggest mistake people make with debt is believing that interest is the only enemy. Sometimes the real enemy is discouragement. Imagine spending an entire year making payments, month after month, and the balance barely moves. For many people, this is exactly what happens with high-interest debt, especially credit cards. Minimum payments create the illusion of progress. But much of the payment goes toward interest, not the actual balance. And this is one reason debt feels endless. In the real world, millions of people continue making payments for years because they only pay the minimum amount required. The debt survives, the interest grows, and financial freedom gets delayed. This is why both the Snowball and Avalanche methods share one important rule: always pay more than the minimum whenever possible. Even small extra payments can shorten repayment periods significantly. But there is another lesson that debt teaches. Debt steals future income. Every dollar spent on interest is money that cannot be invested, cannot be saved, cannot be used to build wealth. Many people focus on becoming rich, but often the first step toward wealth is simply becoming debt-free. Because when debt disappears, cash flow returns. Money that once belonged to lenders suddenly belongs to you. And something interesting happens. Stress decreases. Options increase. Goals become realistic. People start saving, investing, planning, not because they became wealthy overnight, but because they regained control. So which method is better? The Snowball Method gives you motivation. The Avalanche Method saves you money. And the truth is that neither one is perfect for everyone. Some people need quick victories. Others prefer mathematical efficiency. The best strategy is the one you can follow for years. Because consistency beats perfection. A perfect plan that you quit is worthless. A simple plan that you continue can completely change your life. Debt rarely disappears through one large payment. It disappears through hundreds of small decisions. One extra payment, one skipped purchase, 1 month of discipline, then another, and another. Eventually, the balances become smaller, the stress becomes lighter, and the future begins to feel possible again. Because financial freedom doesn't begin when you become rich. It begins when your money finally starts working for your future instead of paying for your past. And perhaps that's the most important lesson debt can teach. The goal isn't simply to owe less money. The goal is to buy back your freedom. There's another reason debt feels so overwhelming. Modern debt is designed to feel normal. Credit cards make spending painless. Student loans promise future success. Buy now, pay later services divide one purchase into many small payments. And because the monthly payments look small, the true cost often stays hidden. $100 here, $50 there, another monthly subscription, another installment, until eventually, part of every paycheck already belongs to someone else. This is sometimes called lifestyle debt, not because people are irresponsible, but because borrowing has become easier than saving. And the danger isn't always the amount of debt. It's how long the debt remains. A small balance with high interest can quietly become a large problem over time. This is why many financially successful people focus on one goal before investing heavily. They reduce expensive debt. Because earning 8% from investments means very little if credit card interest is taking 20%. Debt creates negative compounding. Interest works against you instead of for you. And that changes the entire game. Imagine two people earning the same income. The first person sends hundreds of dollars each month toward debt payments. The second person sends those same dollars towards savings and investments. After several years, their financial lives can look completely different. Not because one person earned more, but because one person's money was building wealth while the other's was paying interest. This is why debt management is not simply about escaping bills. It's about creating future opportunities, the ability to save, the ability to invest, the ability to make decisions without financial pressure. And perhaps the biggest misconception about debt is believing that financial freedom arrives all at once. It doesn't. It arrives gradually. The first debt disappears, then another, and one day, the payment that used to leave your account simply stays there. For the first time, your income belongs entirely to you. And that moment often feels bigger than any paycheck increase. Because freedom is not always measured by how much money you earn. Sometimes it's measured by how much money you no longer owe. One payment at a time.